everyone, it's Natalie and Noah, and we're here today with Pharaoh Brown, who is a tight end for the Seattle Seahawks. And Pharaoh has been in the league for about 8 years, which is absolutely incredible because the league average is 3.5 years. And I think that's a huge testament to him as an athlete, but also his longevity and how he takes care of himself. And I feel like a lot of athletes, me and Noah talk about this a lot, they're very talented, and because of their talents, they can get away with things for a very long period of time. And they end up falling out of their sport, not because of losing their athletic ability or they're not as good of an athlete anymore, but because their health starts to deteriorate or they start getting injuries and their body starts to deteriorate. And I think it's because their talents supersede their recovery, right? Like they can move through things without noticing things as much because they're so talented. But over time, the recovery deficit starts to add up, and all of a sudden they have more difficulty getting over injuries or they're getting sick more often. And then it starts to accumulate to a point where they fall out of the sport. But I think Pharaoh's done such a good job putting energy and effort into his health. And because of that, he's playing the best he has ever has. And I think he can continue to play because of the energy that he's putting into himself. And I want to highlight a incredible story that he's had. He sustained a injury in college that most people would consider career ending, but he was able to recover from it, move through it, and make it to the league and have an amazing career as of right now. So, Farah, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, the story of the injury, how you recovered from it, and what it's like playing in the league right now?
Nice. 8 years sound like dinosaur years. Like some dinosaur years. It's actually funny that you said like guys fall out because I remember the time in like college where I didn't stretch before games. I didn't do anything before games. We would like literally play basketball all week. And we were like so good at Oregon. It was like we was going out putting 60 points on people. Like we in the locker room before games, like how much we scoring, how many points you think score, who getting a touchdown. Like
Hmm.
looking at our followers, like we get a touchdown tonight. It's prime time. We might get 5K followers, but we was just showing up playing. Like we wasn't stretching, we wasn't ice tubbing out there. It was literally like play basketball all week. We had one of the best intramural squads. Go out there Saturday, go to practice, go to a couple classes, and just go out there. It was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
and we was like so young, and like our bodies was able to handle that. Like right
Hmm.
now, me going to play basketball is oh my god, I can't even imagine. So that's actually like 100% true because even looking like the guys that I came into school with, you can see everybody started getting injuries like late, like senior year. And I think it was like a cumulative thing that kind of happened. But yeah, I had an injury and it's well documented and like you said, could have been career injury. So that kind of was sparked that was like my first time getting injured. So
Hmm.
that kind of sparked everything that like my whole journey.
Yeah.
And it was a 3 surgery process. So it was over 3 months of recovery. And it was interesting because I think the journey started like everything happened for a reason. I definitely think that happened for a reason. It was like when it happened, nobody ever did an
Mm.
injury like it.
Yeah.
So when I'm showing up to the treatment room, it's like, all right, what do I do next? What
Hmm.
is the recovery? You know what I mean? That's back when Adrian Peterson had like a 6 month ACL recovery.
Mm.
But the stuff I was dealing with was totally different than his. So I had no book or like no premises of what to do. So it was wake up every day and take it day by day. Which in essence, I know that's like a cliche, but as a college kid, I knew nothing about taking it one day at a time. But like
Yeah.
my life started like, all right, it was really like one day at a time. Like what you can do, what we're gonna do. We not gonna write anything. We just go take it a day at a time. And which I ended up doing like 18, 19 months of rehab
Wow.
to come back. Thankful I had my red shirt year.
Hmm.
But through that process, I would just like started researching stuff, trying to find different stuff. I was in that 3 months. It was like my grandmother was coming. She had cancer,
Mm.
so she was taking care of me. So they never wanted me to be alone because I was on bed rest for a month and a half
Wow.
to see if I had a vascular vein bypass. So
Mm.
basically, I had to wait a whole month to see if the vein bypass would work and start delivering blood to the lower leg. Fast forward, my grandmother would come every morning. She brought me lunch every morning.
Oh,
The cancer had went away and she was perfectly fine.
that's awesome.
So after the surgeries happened, I leave. hold on, I'm missing something. Through that time period, they put me on all these pain meds.
Yeah.
Like, I'm on everything you could think of,
Mhm.
Dilaudid, hydrocodone, in every pain pill you can think of, I had it. So I went through like a phase to where like addiction and just I was trying to get up to the stairs one day to my mom. Mind you, I
Mhm.
can't walk, so I'm crawling. And I couldn't get up there and I can't talk. And I like sit down and I throw up
Mm.
pills like on the thing. It's just and I'm trying to so I'm like throwing up in the bag. It's pills everywhere.
Oof.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to get up the stairs and I'm like, it was like I feel like I was like the stairway to heaven. Like crazy.
Yeah.
And it was just crazy because as a kid, we taught to listen to the doctors.
Totally.
And I couldn't wrap my mind around like why the doctors would give me this stuff to make me feel and go through this stuff.
For sure.
So from my experience, what we would call like Western medicine, like pill management, I was off of it. And that was like the first thing I'm like, yeah, I'm not like
Mhm.
me and doctors just it wasn't for me, it wasn't right. And I didn't know anything about anything else. I just knew that in that moment, I
Mhm.
shouldn't have been feeling like that. And
Yeah.
all I was doing was listening to what the doctors was telling
Absolutely. You knew something was
me.
off,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, I was feeling something off, I'm telling you. And I knew nothing about drugs. I didn't drink, I didn't smoke. So I knew nothing about drugs
Mm.
at that, you know what I mean? Like I didn't know,
Totally.
they didn't tell you about all that stuff. So that's happening.
Mm.
Then I get to the point to where I'm going to like a rehab at the hospital. It is terrible. I mean,
God.
it's 30 minutes and they like punctual. I'm coming off a 3 injury, crazy sports injury. And it's like, all right, 10 minutes, we gonna rub it. Another 10 minutes on the thing, another 10 minutes you out because insurance is only covering
Oh,
so
no.
much. And I'm like, I call Oregon, I gotta get out of here.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
they fly me back. So I'm dealing with all of that doctor thing. And then literally like a month after I leave, I get a call and they like, your grandmother is basically on her last leg. The cancer came back crazy.
Mm.
Get back. I'm like, all right. So I literally dropped the phone, drive to Portland, just trying to get back to see my grandmother before she leave. But the crazy story is that her insurance had changed. She went to a new hospital. She drove herself to her first appointment at the new hospital and never left.
Mm.
Died 2 days later.
That's
Really?
crazy.
And I was like, bro,
Uh,
my grandmother came to me every morning and she drove herself to the hospital. And you telling me she died 2 days later? I don't know like the whole thing of cancer, but I'm not buying the fact that it comes
mhm.
back and kill you in 24 hours.
Yeah.
So that was like the final like touch of like me, doctors in Western medicine. I was like, there's no way. After what I was feeling. So then that was a long story to say that's how I like prompted into a lot of the stuff y'all do of holistic and all that stuff. And then my wife, she had a rare cancer in her eye and she beat it all holistically.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah.
That's
So
incredible.
once I met Celeste and found that out, it wrapped around the whole story. I knew it.
Mm.
And like a lot of this stuff you can't like, we like in the society to where I think people are more open nowadays, but like we're in a society where everybody is pushed so hard with media and everything into the Western medicine side that like they think we crazy, but
I know it's true. I feel like similar to your story, Western medicine really failed me, right? To the point where I felt like I was getting sicker. And there was a light bulb that went off, and I was like, something's not right. This doesn't feel right. There's got to be something different. And for me, I didn't know for a while. I got bounced around. It wasn't actually till I met Noah that I started seeing that there is this whole other area of healthcare, right? And when I started listening to him, I was like, this actually makes sense to me, right? Going and getting treatment for 30 minutes with this crazy injury, like that just doesn't make any sense,
at
right?
all.
That's not going to help you get better. What is? And I think that's how people end up in holistic health is because they've hit rock bottom or dead ends elsewhere and they're looking for other solutions.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
definitely agree.
I think I've even my kind of how I wound my way into all of this field as well too. I always tell like the two-part story as part of it was because of my athletic career, but my first exposure to alternative health was because of my mom. So my mom was actually similar thing. She was actually in hospice when I was 3 years old, and she'd had a super rare autoimmune disease that nobody could figure out what was going on with her. And luckily, they were able to figure out what it was, and they were able in the Western medicine world to actually get her some treatment that helped her to stabilize a little bit. But she dealt with debilitating responses because of they put her on a bunch of steroids and a bunch of medications for a long time. So she was dealing with a number of health issues related to the medications. And it was interesting because when I think we were in like sixth grade, she had her back went out. She was a dental assistant, a single mom. And they basically told her that she was going to need surgery and she wouldn't be able to work for 6 months. And she's, that's not going to work because I'm a single mom and I got to pay bills and do all of this. But they told her at that time, and they're like, you can try chiropractic, but it's really dangerous. And she was like, not more dangerous than not, like losing your house and being on the streets with your kids. And so she went 3 treatments in 1 week and was able to go back to work the next week. And so that was my intro. So we grew up around chiropractic and natural health care and all that because my mom started going and she just made rapid improvements in her health. The life expectancy for somebody with her condition is 10 years. And now we're looking at what, like 38 years later. And she's doing good. And I think a lot of that is because at about her like 8-9 year mark, she found holistic healthcare. And that was actually a thing that helped her to make some recovery and start to look at things differently. And I think it is a lot of people get introduced to it because the Western medicine system, why it's set up for certain things, it's not set up for like health and longevity. And I think for like athletes, I think it is important that a lot of the ones that we work with that end up having longevity is you often find it at a crossroads. So for you, it was you went through all this stuff with pain and pain management, and they were even talking about potentially having to amputate your leg at one point if the vascular surgery didn't work. And so as you went through this, it's now you're at this crossroads where you're like, I got to figure out a different way of doing things to be able to recover. So tell us a little more about what that recovery process, once you got going, like how things turn around and how things get like moving in that direction to where you were able to start playing again and work your way back into the league.
I think the recovery process, I lived in the pool. We had like the Hydro Works.
Yeah, that's a great setup.
Oh, yeah. The underwater treadmill, the Hydro Work was definitely like a daily thing. So we did a bunch of that. Her name was Kim Terrell. She was the one of the heads in the athletic training room, and then she basically became like my personal.
Oh, cool.
Cool.
Yeah, like
Take you
my
under your
personal.
wing.
Yeah, like everybody knew when I came in, she was working with me for 2 hours. Like she
Nice.
really didn't work with nobody the whole
Yeah.
time. And she was like the head trainer.
Yeah.
Got spoiled in that matters.
Mhm.
But man, it was just like building like the muscles. And I remember like teaching myself to walk up the stairs again, stepping
Wow.
in and out of the shower. Like it was just like a slow road of like building strength of just like everyday activities and pools, massage, cold therapy. We didn't have lasers and stuff back then. But,
I know all the advancements now.
yeah, all the
Sometimes I'm like,
advancements
oh,
crazy.
if I could have had what I had now
Yeah.
back when I was an athlete, it's been
I
incredible.
wonder how long that would have took off the 19 months.
Yeah.
But yeah, then with the Vertimax, once I really got going,
Mm.
they had a Pilates machine. I used to do a bunch of stuff on the reformer.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it was just really just like coming back. Like I remember like I used to have to get certain degrees.
Mm.
And I literally just lay on the bed, 'cause I stopped doing the pain meds. But they used to have a toothpick, and basically I had to get my range of motion back. I don't know where I found this out, but so the toothpick you would basically hook your leg up to,
Mhm.
and you had to tape it down and let the gravity just basically push your leg straight.
Yeah.
Hurt it like hell.
Mm.
So I was in Oregon.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, I'm not taking no more pain pills. I'm just gonna do marijuana first
Mhm.
time. And that's what I did through 2 surgeries, through my
Mhm.
next 2 surgeries after that month.
Yeah.
And way better.
Mhm.
And so we would do that. And then I would lay on the bed and let my leg fall backwards.
Oh my gosh.
So that, so that's how I like I think, and I just like lay there and let my leg fall to get the motion back. To like, hey, I got this much. Oh, it was painful, but it was crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just like little stuff like that you just had to find to get better because like it was like some like drop foot stuff,
Yeah, for
dealing
sure.
with all of that stuff. When they had cut me, they like my skin nerves. I still don't really got feeling to like the touch
Mm.
on the skin because how they cut me in the emergency surgery. But I mean, it was just like literally like little things. It was never like a big jump. Oh, I got to this
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
I can do this. Like before I started running, I was jump roping for 4 weeks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Then I had a little Yorkie dog,
Mhm.
and they're like, it was like trying to beat him in a race. He would like run crazy. It's like video. It was at
That's
Oregon. He was
amazing.
like famous dog. he'd be like running circles and run things, and I'm trying to catch him, and I couldn't catch him for 2 months.
Yeah.
And then it's like I was gauging, like, oh, I can catch him. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Yeah.
that. My rehab was more like looking back. It was like it was fun. You know what I mean? And I think
Mhm.
that's what they did a great job. Like my mom, my wife now, and the trainer of not telling me any bad stuff.
Mm,
Yeah.
So the whole my leg had to get amputated. I heard that one time before I went into surgery.
wow.
Yeah.
And basically I was in Utah and Oregon left.
Wow.
And they actually was gonna put me on the plane, but I caught a full body cramp. If I'd have got on that plane, my leg would have been gone.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when I caught the full body cramp, I went to the hospital and they was like, if you don't take a surgery. And when I went, they was like, I was going under impression from the trainers that we just gonna go get you hydrated, get you some stuff, and you fly back the next day. Then when I get there, they like, oh, you gotta get surgery. And I was like,
Mhm.
I don't know you people. I'm not getting
Yeah.
surgery. So they had to wait till Oregon landed to call the trainers.
Wow.
And then the trainers go on the phone was like, okay, you actually do gotta get surgery. We didn't know.
Yeah.
So that was the only time I heard that. After that, I'm a kid. I was like, all right, you get the surgery, you good now. In all actuality,
Yeah.
I wasn't good.
Yeah. There's a
But
lot left there.
they never told me that. They never told me like anything bad of
Yeah.
the recovery to things. It was just like, hey, nobody there. This is gonna take time. And
So it's like a huge shock.
yeah, you'll be at a research, you'll be at a red shirt, and
Wow.
you'll be at they never told me it's a chance I can't play again. It's a chance of
Mm.
none of this. So me going through the process was just I was just going through the process. And it was a positive
Yeah.
process, and there was nothing in the mix of can't be bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, I think that's powerful actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was actually reading a study of like how we like 60% of water, and it was like a study. You might know what it's called. I don't remember what it's called, but it was saying like telling words, water holds memory,
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah.
and
You have
they
like
was free.
positive
Yeah,
memories versus
positive
like
memory and word affirmations. Then negative. Then if you freeze it, the way that the water crystallizes and the shape,
it's
it's
like
like
more beautiful when it's like
yeah.
positive words.
And then it
Yeah.
looked like it looked crazy when it's negative words.
Yep.
And I was like, that's me.
And yeah,
Like I
so
got positivity in
yeah,
my
so it's
cells.
like you can either have this disjointed like matrix in your body, like when you're like like focusing on all the negative and all the like the bad, or you can have this like beautiful crystalline structure in your body where you're like, hey, you know what? Like we're gonna focus on the good. Every little day we're making progress. And I think that's probably an important thing for a lot of people to hear is that a lot of people want health to be like this, like point A to point B. And for you, it was like every day, you're like just little bits every day. And I think that people who are struggling with like really complex health issues, that's maybe something that they can take away is the fact that it's focus on those little incremental gains. And it's not going to be like, I woke up from surgery and everything's better, right? Like it's whatever you're dealing with. It's like just trying to do little bits of things every day to make progress, to chase that Yorkie, get closer to it, get going through that area. And it's you just keep making progress every day. And then eventually you're like, hey, I'm there. I'm doing a lot better. I've overcome this. I've made that. And I think that so many people just they want to get to that like end point so badly and focusing on the positive and all the little things and just showing up every day, being like, every day I get an opportunity to be here and do better. That's what I got to focus on. And I think that's really powerful for a lot of people is to know that, yeah, just focusing on that, like the positive attitude and like the little wins every day and trying to like just keep those like negative thoughts like at bay. So as well too.
That's
So,
all.
For sure.
I think it's like a big thing too, like the energy that you like. I remember not knowing anybody who did like this kind of work.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew like the work was there,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Because I've heard like stories, but like I didn't know anybody who did it.
You're like, where
Like,
is it?
Yeah, like, but like
Yeah.
the energy of like I invested myself in this. I don't know, it's like a weird thing. Like you just start meeting people that's
Yeah.
like-minded, and I don't know, it's something in the major just in the world. Like when you start just putting out the energy, it just like attracts to you. Like,
Totally. Yeah.
and I just started meeting people that does this and they be like little stories. Oh, I did this and I did this and I got this person and this is what we do and this man, this is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And it just happened like this. I went 23 years without meeting no one in this aspect. And then it's 5 years later that now like my mind is like wired and now I'm invested to it. And now I just all of a suddenly, some may say it's a coincidence, but me, it's like all of a sudden in 4 or 5 years, I just meet all these beautiful people that's on the same journey and a part of the same journey that I'm on. It's crazy.
I think there's like a lot of power in putting out into the world what you're looking for. Even if it's just like on your mind, you're like, I know this exists, and keeping it in your like time and space. And it's true, you do start to attract it, right? It's almost like your eyes are more open and you can pick things up easier. And so I think that's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you both like you're like both of your stories are similar, right? Like it was
Hmm.
like you 'cause Natalie, I know you say this a lot where you were like, I knew there was just like something else that could be done. I knew there was like something in your, what is it? Same thing like you're, there's got to be some more that we can do in this area. And then
Hmm.
it's just like that kind of aligns. And I always think of a saying that I've always heard is they say, when the patient is ready, the doctor will come.
Mm.
And as a doctor, they always say, when the doctor is ready, the patient will come, right? Like you learn a new thing. And then all of a sudden you're like, it's like when I was starting to work on learning like neurological things and like paralysis rehabilitation and all these kind of things, I started with one patient and I started to learn more about that. And then all of a sudden now I'm dealing with all these patients that have paralysis, stroke, spinal cord injuries, brain injuries that are leading to like loss of function. And so it was like I wasn't ready, but it was like I kept pursuing. And I think that's like what we do as people, as we keep trying to raise our vibrational state, right? We keep trying to learn, grow, remove those interferences so we can do that. And then we get what we need when we're ready for it. And so for both of you, there was probably like a process to maybe like when you guys were having tons of success as high level athletes, it was like your body was like, oh, I'm good. I don't need anything. I can hoop it up like every day and like and show up and do this. And Natalie, you're like, I can run all these miles and hammer it and push. And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden you're like, okay, there something's going on. And then you go through your struggle, but it allows you to, and I think there's always a good book that Ryan Holiday wrote it's called The Obstacle is the Way. And
Hmm.
so many people like they try to avoid the obstacle at all costs. And yes, we want to avoid obstacles as much as we can, but oftentimes when we're presented with that challenge, it's the thing that projects us into our life's true trajectory. Like for you, Natalie, if you wouldn't have had your issue, like you would have never been in the field you were. Who knows where life would have been and what you would have been doing. Pharaoh, for you, I think you're an inspiration to a lot of people who have dealt with really traumatic things. I know I have a young football player kid that I know looks up to you a lot because he's dealt with a similar injury, and knowing that like somebody has overcome a similar injury and now is like playing in the league, and he has aspirations to do that as well too. So I know there's a lot of people that with what you've been through and sharing your story and all of that, that you've been able to help inspire both of you. Natalie, you've touched so many lives in our practice, right? It's so cool to see what you've done with so many people, but without those challenges both of you probably wouldn't have the same perspective that you have today. So I think that's a super important thing for people to remember as well too, is when they're going through these challenges that you never know as you go through them, how it's going to be at the end. Yeah.
Definitely.
For sure. I know if I didn't get sick, I would have never found this career, right? Which is cool. I love what I do now. And so I'm so happy I found this area of healthcare. Yeah, we do a lot of cool things, and recovery is super important, and putting energy into your body is super important.
Definitely super important.
Yeah.
Pharaoh, why don't we talk a little bit now about as you've gotten into this and we've worked together now for about 3 years, what have you incorporated? I know you've come up and done a lot of treatment in the office, you're on your bye week right now, spending a week with us, just doing like a full rehabilitation program. But what are things that you've incorporated into your routine daily that you feel have been really powerful in helping you keep longevity? And then every year it seems like you're just having a better and better year as you've gone along. So what are some things that you've incorporated into your routine that you feel have been really helpful and powerful for you to continue to like heal and play at your best level 8 years into the league right now?
I got some cool machines now.
He's got the coolest garage in
Yeah.
Seattle.
Yes.
Little
Absolutely.
garage. I need the garage of longevity.
Yeah.
Uh,
I like that name.
I would say it's nothing that I do it's not one thing that I do. I think it's the consistency of like the things that I do.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's like that compound effect of like
Hmm.
my body is like sometimes on the game, like I might do all this stuff and I'd be like, man, I spent a lot of money. I should be feeling better. I just did all these machines, but it's by the end of the week, it's like, all right, I'm here. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Yeah.
And I just think it's just the consistency of like how I'm treating my body, the stuff that I'm doing, and I'm not budging on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like as far as the recovery. It's one thing about playing football, then it's another thing. Like I got two boys. Once I'm done playing football, it's like how I want to be and like and
Totally.
some of the equipment that I got is okay, they can have it and not have to go through as a parent. I don't want my kid to go through those challenging. I know challenges are going to exist, but I don't want them to have to go through some of the challenges that I did. And
Yeah.
some people may say I'm soft on my boys, but that's just the parent in you. Yeah, the first thing that I ever bought was a hyperbaric chamber.
Yeah.
I love hyperbaric.
Me too.
It's one of my favorites.
That was the first thing I ever got.
Yeah, the first thing I got, and I was on practice squad,
Yeah.
so I wasn't making a lot of money,
Yeah.
and I was in California.
Yeah.
Big investment.
Yeah.
So it was. I remember one guy on the team. He had bought like a Gucci winter coat, and it was like
Oh.
5,000.
Yeah.
And I bought the hyperbaric that was like 6, and people thought I was crazy. But one of the older vets' daughters was autistic and had some brain stuff, and the doctor had him buy her hyperbaric chamber to help with her brain development, and he started using it. So then I got a concussion in my rookie year in training camp, and I was undrafted. So I'm like, dang, I'm about to get cut. I got a concussion. This might be 1 2 weeks. This is bad. I need to be out there. And he was like, come to my room. He had a deep voice too. Rick, come to my room. What?
Yeah.
Go to his room. I'm thinking I gotta do some rookie duty stuff. He put me in the hyperbaric. Oh my God. I could have just lost it all. I was like claustrophobic.
It's a hard place to be.
Pressure, my ears going crazy. But I ended up sticking it out, slept in it, and then did it the next 2 days. And I was good in 2 days. Like this before the whole concussion protocol.
Yeah.
It was like come
Yeah.
back as you can.
Yeah.
And I was back in 2 3 days. And I was like, man, I need that.
Yeah.
I need that. So that was like the first thing I bought, and I still got the same one that I bought 8 years later. Definitely worth it.
Yeah.
Definitely got the mileage out of it. But yeah, other than that, just like cold tubbing, hot tubbing,
100%. Such a good recovery
yeah,
modality. Yeah.
getting stuff like all these oxygen machines and just getting to like the basics of the body. Like
Yeah.
we need water, we need oxygen to recover from
Absolutely. It's like
the
those
start.
basics, right? If you're feeding your body more oxygen on a daily basis, right? Also, we talk about like red light as well. You're energizing your mitochondria on a daily basis,
Yeah.
right? You're cold plunging and doing contrast on a daily basis, right? You're working the vasculature and increasing those different types of proteins and whatnot.
Yeah, I'm in Seattle now. I need a vitamin D lamp, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
I need a red light and a
Might throw that
vitamin
in the
D
mix.
lamp. Yeah.
Yeah. You're like there ain't no sun up
Yeah,
there.
you need sun.
You need
definitely.
sun, right? You need water, you need sun, you need oxygen, you need light, right? There's all these really important things to do. You need actually electricity. We're electric beings. So things like PEMF, those are really helpful for recharging your cells. So I think if you're just like inputting those on a daily basis, it can
Right.
be really helpful.
And I think that's like the consistency and like what I do is the PMF and all those machines and like recharging from like everything that happens is at the cellular level, right? That's like the basis of anything. Like I don't know if Noah told me or I was down one of my rabbit holes, but it basically was saying that anything that happens in the body, like if I tear a muscle, you do something, it broke down at the cellular level first. Before that you feel that tear, before you feel that muscle, before anything happens, it's going to break down at the cellular level first.
Yeah.
And that's why that occurs, right? So for me, it's just like, all right, if that's the case, then, and this is, I go against everything. Like no NFL trainers, nobody really is telling you this stuff and like advising you to do some of this stuff. So I just go out like on the whim, one, because of my experience of what I've been through, and 2, I've been through it. Like,
Yeah.
so you can't tell me, you can't tell me anything about my body because I've been through it. And I know that it worked. And I'm not half alien, I don't think. But so for me, it's like the next person, it'll work for them too. So that's just what I do, and it worked. And every day it continues to show that it actually works. So everything for me is just at the cellular level. I want to make sure, yes, some stuff happens. We play a gladiator sport.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd be getting hurt if I was doing my normal everyday activities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But going out there playing football is
Oh.
very strenuous on the body.
Oh my gosh, so strenuous.
Yeah.
You got a lot of forces
Yeah.
acting.
So I'm like, let me just make sure, like, at the base and at the foundation that I'm strong.
Yeah.
And over the time, like, I used to get massages a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, it actually cut down, like, as many massages as I get just because my body is, like, recovering and not breaking down so much. You know what I mean? And me to knowing getting work with him is, like, the compound effect. And nobody ever told me, like, about my nervous system.
Yeah,
And
that's a huge one.
it was crazy because drop foot is the nerves isn't connected.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the muscle.
Yeah.
So my calf was strong, but I couldn't pick my foot up.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, you're like, this doesn't
Like,
make sense.
what? My calf is strong, but I can't pick my foot up. It was the craziest thing ever. I'm
Yeah.
like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know Noah at this point in time. But the doctor would just always say, yeah, the nerves are the last thing to come back. And you never know when it's going to come back. It could be years, it could be
Yeah.
this. So I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Bro, I'm walking up the stairs now, bro. I'm catching a Yorkie now, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta tell me something. Like, why can't I pick my foot up?
Yeah.
And like all the muscles around it was strong.
Mm-hmm.
And it was crazy because for me, like going back and like telling the story, it's always like different stuff that come up and it's like powerful messaging like that I didn't even really know that I was going through.
Yeah.
It was just happening and it ended up being like sometimes like it's just I got hurt. It's not as
Mm-hmm.
I guess we don't never feel as inspirational as like some people may see us or stuff. Cause I'd be like,
When you're in it, it's
Yeah.
hard to see it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like,
You're like, I'm just doing my thing. Like,
Like-
I'm just trying to get through this. Yeah.
so like even like I told me, bro, you got a powerful story, and there's some people that see me like, man, the stuff that you've been through, and this, I was like, man, I just went through it. Like it wasn't like I was like, you know what I mean? So like some of that stuff is crazy, but like with that nerve thing, and I know you do it a lot, and nobody was there to explain until I met you, and now it all makes sense. And there's because people ask me all the time, what does he do? I was like, I don't know. We're like an electric panel. He just reset us.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really
But
Yeah.
I've actually been through that of being strong and not being able to move some of my body. And like we say, like the cells is like from of an energy standpoint, to break it down, it's the same with the nervous system. Like your
Yeah.
brain communicates everything in our body through our nerves. And not our muscles,
Yep.
none of that. It's through our nerves. And you really can't feel your nerves. You know what I
Only
mean?
when they're
Yeah.
like injured, probably,
Yeah.
right? But other than that, you can.
But no, so when I was injured, I would feel like sometimes it'd be like an electrocution feeling.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, oh, that's just coming on, but I still couldn't move it.
Mm.
But I think a lot of like times when we like go to the doctor, we go sit at the table, we go get on the chiropractor, we go get on things. I don't know if it's just
Mhm.
me or like athletes or whatever, but you want to feel something that's I'm getting better. You know what I mean? And if you're not feeling it, is people think it's not working.
Yeah.
So not a
Yeah.
consistency drop off. If I go put you in front of a red light and you see all the benefits, but then you be like, I ain't sleep that good that night, or I didn't really feel
Yeah.
like I was energized. Now you're like, oh, that don't work. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna do it. But it's this the consistency of
Yeah.
that the red light and stuff. So I think that's one of the biggest things in it is like some of this stuff that you don't feel,
Yeah.
but it's there. You don't feel your cells breaking down.
Mhm.
I still haven't felt that one part, but like the nerves, I've seen that, and that's the communication. So is I get on the table, I don't feel he reset my nerves, but you
Mhm.
can feel like the motions, and like when you go without something, now it's easy to know that it's working when it's changing. That's like just
Mhm.
being more in tune. But
For sure.
I think anything is just the consistency. I
Yeah.
think that's a big thing of eating right, all of that.
Yeah, because it's true. Your body has a certain type of intelligence,
Mhm.
and you have to give it the energy, the raw nutrition, and then you have to let the body work its way out, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like you're going to do one thing and then bam, all of a sudden you feel better, you're healed. It's more, no, you're re energizing the cells, you're giving the body the nutrition so it could rebuild the way that it needs to build. And then you have to let the body utilize it all and orchestrate it, right? And that takes time. And there's a little bit of a process to that.
Yeah, we always say like fuel and activation, right?
Yeah.
And that's like my response to all healing, right? When we have different types of brain injuries, neurologic injuries, like tissue injuries, breakdown, anything that we're looking at is we give fuel to the body, and that fuel can be our vitamins, minerals, proteins, carbohydrates. But it also, the other thing that we talk about when we're talking about all this like cellular healing is it's protons, photons, and electrons.
Yeah.
Right? Like our body is an electrical being, and through like how we make energy is called the electron transport chain. And that's actually this cellular process deep inside of the cells on how we make energy. And it's basically like converting like light and electrons and all these electrical substances into energy. And so that's what we break food down into.
Yeah.
So as long as we're putting the right raw materials in, we have the right vitamins and minerals that run that reaction, and then we let that energy process take place, the body has what it needs to repair. And then if we activate the specific pathway that we need to repair, so for in your case, we're going to try to stimulate that nerve area that needs regeneration. So we're going to find a weak area of the brain, we're going to find a weak area of the nerve, and then we're going to stimulate that area, and we're going to just keep trying to push it, help the body like reconnect, become aware, because the brain and nerves only change with input. So we're putting this input into the body so the body can recoordinate in there and allow it to heal. And as we do that over time, that is what can enhance and accelerate this, where you're just trying to figure it out, right? Like you don't know, you're like, okay, let me try this, let me try this. And it definitely came back. But if we can be really targeted with, that's how we can enhance that. And that's the work that we do. And then you talk about the nervous system in general, is that's all we can do with athletes. And I talk about this all the time, is we never know, but all we're trying to do is pull anchors off of the body, whether it be like I've got some type of an imbalance in my neuromuscular system, I've got a deficiency, I've got energy issues. As we start to pull these different things off to where the body can have anchors on it, then it can go just express itself as it needs to be. When we started working together, it was like, yeah, there was a lot of muscles imbalance. The nervous system, you had a lot of impact issues from years and years in the league. And we just started to like basically reset all of that. And most people and athletes specifically have never been in neutral. And that's what I call it, like this nervous system neutral. And it's such a weird feeling. And I think that's what a lot of people realize after we like treat them for the first time. They're like, I don't know what just happened to my body. And I'm like, it's called relaxation. It's how your body should be. But no, when you get in that nervous system neutral and the body then can regenerate. And then we just look deeper and deeper as we go through, peel back those layers so you can just level up each time. And that's the way that we look at the body and the nervous system, and how we just pull those anchors off and then fuel and activation. And we can continue to bring that level up so you can play at a higher level, perform at a better level. And that's one of the ways that we really look at this.
Yeah. And I love what you said about like the electrons, the photons, like they create energy in us. They help with us at the cellular level. And Pharaoh, you have an amazing garage, the longevity garage. We have so many cool tools at our office, right? With the red light, the PEMF, what are other ones? Hyperbaric, right? Like all these things to put energy in the body. But there's also things you can do, right? Like without the machines as well. And so I wanted to touch on those for people who might not have access to them or whatnot. Yeah, go outside.
Put your feet on the ground and get morning and evening, go in. I think that is a big component of it.
It's true. Earthing, like putting your bare feet on the ground or getting into a running body of water, right? There's electrons moving through the water. And if you're in it, it's moving through you, right? Or cold plunging. That's a great way too. And if you have a cold body of water where you live, you can jump in that, or sauna, or there's lots of actually facilities now where you can do that, which is pretty cool. Yeah, morning and after or evening sun is really great as well. So
yeah, set your circadian rhythm that way, morning, evening sun. A great practice is first thing in the morning, go outside barefoot, stand in the grass, and just
look at the sun.
Get some sun like on your body. And that's going to set your circadian rhythm in the morning. It's going to improve your sleep. It's going to charge you up for the day. And do some breathing exercises in. Like breathe in 6 seconds, out 6 seconds, in 6 seconds, out 6 seconds, and just slow your breath, get the sun in, and just charge your body. Do that for 5 minutes, 10 minutes every morning. And you'd be surprised at how many things actually change because we're so disconnected from that. And so it's like the grounding is like your PMF. The sun is like your red light. The breathing is your opening up oxygenation. That's your hyperbaric, red light, and PMF mat, just naturally that you can do every morning. Yeah. And it's actually a practice that I've really tried to work in, and try to do some like different nasal breathing, in through your nose, out through your mouth, in through your nose, out through your mouth, really charging up and dilating the whole body. And so those are things that we can do. And I know with you, we set up a routine. You jump in your cold plunge first thing in the morning, and then you have a cool technique technology called the Vasper,
Oh,
which
yeah.
is a cold compression. It's what we have, and it's a 20-minute workout, like high intensity workout, where it's pumping 47-degree cold water through bands in your arms, improving that growth hormone response, reducing cortisol, and then you jump in a sauna
Mhm.
like afterward to rewarm. And so like a little bit of like cold exercise and heat
Mhm.
and then for first thing in the morning in an hour. And it doesn't have to be a whole lot, like a little bit of like cold water or a cooling, then get up, work out a little bit, and then get in a sauna can actually greatly enhance your recovery. And that's things that people could do. You could jump in a quick cold shower, throw your running clothes on or walking clothes, go walk a little bit,
Yeah.
and then try to find a sauna or just get some sun. So I think there's a lot we can do for recovery. And I
For
think
sure.
what's cool, you've implemented those things and been able to have great longevity and great recovery like in there as you've learned these things from starting with the hyperbaric. And what would have happened if you didn't have those 3 days of concussion, right? That could have changed the whole
The
trajectory
whole
of
everything.
the whole career, because it was like, yeah, like you said, for that time you were fighting for your spot on the practice squad. So it's instead of going out and buying that Gucci coat, you invested in your body. And here you are 8 years later in the league, like starting, like playing your best football like ever. And it was like you were at a place where you had to decide, I got a little money now. Do I go buy this Gucci coat, look real fly, do all these things, or do I buy a hyperbaric chamber and invest in my health?
For our listeners, the Gucci coat did not make the 3-year cut.
Yeah.
And he was drafted.
Yeah. And so, yeah. And that says a lot, right? Because I think that's a good point. Everybody is faced with these decisions,
Yeah.
right? Like, where it's, if we're struggling with something, like, where do we invest our time, energy, and money? And then our like mental space, right? Like in there. And I think that can show that it always focusing on your health. And that's what we talk a lot about with athletes is focusing on the health of the athlete. That's my big thing is I know that there's a lot of short-term fixes you can do to push athletic performance up, but always the outcome is going to be much better when we're just intentional about like the health of the body, rebuilding the cellular health, because we're built from the ground up. So making sure you're getting the nutrition, you're getting those things, doing all those little things as an athlete. They may not, like you said, it may not be noticeable like right away, but over the course of longevity, it's usually is going to like amount to a much 1 + 1 = 2. And then that 2 turns into 2 × 2 is 4. And then 4 × 4 from there on.
Yeah.
So see how much math I can do right now in the middle of this conversation. But it amplifies and accelerates as you put those little deposits every day, add up to big things.
Mhm.
So
That's crazy because actually, even like when I was injured, we used to have a Sunday like adventure day, adventure
Mm.
Sunday.
yeah.
And me and my dog, I was in Oregon, so we would like, it was like so many like cool hikes,
Mhm.
hot springs,
Ooh.
all these Crater Lake, and
Mm.
I would just go explore like the Blue Pool. Like it was Oregon got it's freaking ridiculous how many. I don't know, Natalie.
They have like amazing nature
Yeah,
out there, right?
yeah, we
Like,
need
yeah.
Natalie to do her YouTube,
Yeah.
her nature
Yeah,
YouTube
her
in
YouTube.
Oregon.
I'll show you all the spots.
Yeah, but it was, and I used to do that weekly.
That's
And it's crazy that you say that. It was like you get all that stuff because obviously during my rehab, I was getting all that.
Yeah.
Not even knowing. I just thought of that when you just said, I was like, man, that's crazy because I used to literally go on walks.
Ah,
That's actually a cool point, right?
Yeah,
Like
it is.
it was like you were actually harnessing the energy of the earth. So like going to the hot springs, going in like a cold river, just getting in nature, just
Getting
getting
the-
in green, right?
Yeah.
It's like forest bathing is what they call it. And there's a tons of studies showing how just getting in like the forest in nature has this healing effect on your body. So you were probably just craving that, and your body was like, I don't know why I need to do this, but I just need to do this. And so it is just getting out and getting into nature and being able to help in a lot of those areas can be super helpful.
That might be people just need to like listen to their gut
Yeah.
Yeah.
or they body.
100%. Yeah.
I know a lot of times it'd be like, oh, you might be thinking of something and then it's like, oh, should I do this? Just go do it.
Do
'Cause
it.
Yeah.
You never know.
If it
Like,
popped in your head,
yeah.
maybe go do it. Yeah.
I was like, even like yesterday, I was supposed to come back to get work with Noah, but I'm like out eating, then food was good. I'm like, it like went through my mind. It was like, I invited Noah to dinner. He didn't text me back.
I didn't get the text message till later because I was finishing with patients.
Yeah, I like, so what's going on? Because I really was trying to lure him over to come work on me at home. I just got like a little lazy. But like, I was like, all right, I might just see him in the morning.
Mhm.
But then I was like, nah, let me just go. And it was it was like just like that night of everything like just started coming together. Like I'm dealing with some little pain and we like got so much done. And it was like, that's exactly what I need. Like I woke up this morning better. And
Totally.
my gut was telling me to go.
Yes.
But then after that, I started like rationalizing everything else to not go.
Talk yourself out of it.
Yeah, but I ended up still going because I even text Bertha, which is Noah's assistant. Is Noah still there? And she like, yeah. And I was like, dang, because I was gonna say if he ain't there, then I can like, you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
I was
But yeah.
I was mad because I missed the at-home hibachi guy coming to cook for us. So I was like, I saw that text message and I was like, oh man, it's like I just finished. I was like, man, I missed the hibachi meal. I was like, he got a house on the lake right now. I was like, that would have been the best setup. What happened, and we did. It was we needed some of the equipment and tools we had at the office, and like a huge breakthrough on something that we've been working through. And so it was like one of those things where it was like, dang, I missed that text message. I want somebody throwing shrimp in my mouth.
But it all worked out the
It
way
all worked out how it
Shrimp and
is. So,
sake.
that's
Yeah.
right.
But yeah, I think that more people just listen to that first gut feeling of things to do because that's like when I was recovering and like
Mhm.
all the time I try and nobody's perfect, but I listen to my gut, do what my gut says. Some people say betting on yourself, and that's just like how I've been hardwired to listen to myself and bet on myself. And I always told people I grew up in Cleveland.
Mhm.
That's when everybody was going to Ohio State and I was committed in Michigan. People like, how did you get to Oregon? And it's just I always told people like I always wanted to make my own decisions
Yeah.
and not have people make decisions for me. Cause like in high school, I had times where like people like made the decision for me and then you like regret it. I should have, whatever somebody may say about Pharaoh is that like he made his own decisions. And when I'm done and whatever that may look like, I'm cool with it because
Mm.
I made my decisions. Like I don't regret anything or anything that I did or anything that I went through or like how anything shaked out because I can live with making my decisions and betting on myself and doing what I thought that was
Mhm.
good. It's just that feeling that you get like when something happened and you knew it and then like but somebody else told you to do
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
and this man nah but like some people may say it's risky or this or that but it's like
You just trust that gut
yeah, I
feeling.
just trust that gut feeling like
Yeah. It's learning to trust it because when it guides you in the right direction, you're like, okay, no. You have to work the muscle a little bit,
Yeah.
gain trust with that gut feeling. But once you can identify it, yeah, listen to it. I think it's really powerful. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that honestly is like why like all of us are here having this conversation today, right?
Yeah.
It's like you both when you were going through your stuff, it was like you knew that there was something that, that something else you needed
Mhm.
in that area and you weren't getting what you needed. And I think I'm in this field when I can think of a number of things that have happened to me through the course of like my like career and all of that. I was like, wow, I wish this would have happened differently. And then you look back on it and you were like, no, like this all happened this way because this was the actual plan. And it's just trusting that like as you're making those moves and making those decisions that you're really being intuitive to that. And I think that's something that everybody like listening to this can take away is really you ultimately know what you need
Yeah.
and just trust that you're going to find and just be open to anything and that
Mm.
you can find that person that you need or that thing that you need or what you need to fully recover or that your body knows what it needs. But does it need to go out and just take a walk every day in the woods? Does it need to get out of a situation? Do you need to jump in and actually take that step to ask for help? And I think it's cool, like your guys' stories, like really can give some inspiration to the listeners and to people that are out there that maybe feel like they are a little lost. Just know that like it will happen in the right time. And that's part of like why we've changed the name of our clinic to the Kairos Clinic is because it means the right time. Because we have that saying, people would be like, I wish we found you earlier. And we're like, it's just you weren't ready or I wasn't ready or like we weren't ready, but now is the right time. And so Pharaoh, thanks so much for spending today with us and sharing your story. I think I think you don't know how much it does touch and inspire a lot of people around you and how much good energy you bring to everybody around you. You really lift everybody around you up. And I just want you to know that because it's been a blessing for me to get to work with you the last 3 years and get to know you. And I think you've brought so much light into everybody around you. And I know that everybody really cares deeply for you. And I know you just do so much for so many people around you. And so I just wanted to say thanks for coming on and so grateful to get to be a part of your team and look forward to continuing to help you play better and better every year. So it's gonna be fun on this ride.
I
So
appreciate it.
awesome. So
That's amazing.